Hello, welcome to the Tabletop Call-In Show talk show. We are back. It is time to broadcast live to you on the internet and talk about games and shit. If you are new or forgot, I'm Adam Bell. You can find me on Twitter at Adam E. Bell. Find anything I do, just look for that Adam E. Bell on your website of choice. Jeremy, who are you?
Hi everyone, I'm Jeremy Gage. You can find me at Jeremy Gage 5 over on Twitter. I host the Draw Your Dice podcast, which is a podcast that talks to indie designers like Adam, who talk about their principles, philosophies, and best practices so that you too can learn how to be a game designer. Accessible education.
How about that? It's a good show.
How about that? Thank you. This is a good show.
Hopefully, we're back.
Yeah.
We'll see if we can still muster it. Yeah. So this is, in case you've seen the messaging or whatever, this is the a talk show week. So every other week, except for in the rare occasion where there's a fifth week, every other week, Jeremy and I will just be chatting to each other about, um, really anything games that we want to talk about. We'll probably update you on our latest projects. Maybe talk about any cool just things that we've seen, games that we've played, games that we're reading. Maybe think about games, do some brainstorming. I don't know. We're gonna see how it goes. I
Yeah.
figured this first week I'm not gonna come prepared with much because Jeremy and I probably just have plenty to talk about. But eventually we'll run dry of that well of spontaneous thing, and we could start driving that conversation. But yeah, then next week, of course, we'll be taking calls. We are still called the Tabletop Call-In Show. We have to do that. Otherwise, we'll have to change our name. So look out for that next week.
Rebrand.
the fifth the fifth week or the fifth Monday of any given month, we're just gonna do something else. We'll figure it out and announce it then. Not going to guarantee it's going to be the same every time a fifth Monday happens. To my chagrin, at least, there is a fifth Monday this very month,
Ooh.
which, I shouldn't say
So
my
could you
chagrin
say
because that
they
makes it
get
seem like
ready
I'm not
for a
excited.
bonus episode?
I mean, it's coming in just 4 weeks. Yeah. From today. How about that?
How
Um,
about that? 4 whole weeks to plan whatever that's gonna be.
so I think we should start with I mean, Jeremy, what have you been up to? We haven't done this show in a long time.
Mm,
What's it been since July? I think is when my brain imploded,
yes,
or whatever happened.
it took much science to bring you back. I had to make my way to Pittsburgh and visit Adam to repair him.
It, yeah, that was what made the difference. It was
Factual.
we sat right at
It's
this
just
table, played some
a little bit
Galaxy
of
Trucker,
science, a little bit of Galaxy Trucker. Yeah.
and now here we are.
uh, Here we are. Let's see. Recently, I have been doing the podcast, getting amazing guests on there. Um, I started a Patreon so that people can get episodes faster. Um,
Or just support
I
the show. You don't have to want the fast episodes to give Jeremy some money. Go
I
do it.
well, I feel like people want the stuff, so I give them stuff. Pay what you want, which is a cool thing potentially to talk about. Is like pay what you want Patreon models, if that's something that you as a designer can facilitate. Ripped from Tracy Barnett, who recently has succeeded in the Iron Edda Kickstarter. So congratulations to Tracy out there. There are actually quite a few Kickstarters funding legitimately today. Slayer's Almanac with Spencer Campbell and Anamnesis with Sam Lee.
Oh yeah, that started today,
Uh,
right?
Sam just funded this morning, so that's super amazing. So congratulations, Sam. And also want to say hi to everyone that's come in to view the show. We got Mike Clam, the DT of Valetti, D. Framant, Jimmy Shelter, Will Yopes, and it's Dan Phipps. Welcome back, everyone.
Jeremy, the people want you to
Uh,
go on a brain unscrambling tour.
Brain. So wait, is that?
They're crying out
Yes,
for the services that you provided to me, which is sitting down and playing Galaxy Trucker.
I will smooth your brain to a shiny pink marble
Mm-hmm.
if that's what you want. I'll find the way to do it.
Yeah,
Um,
nothing like a shiny
Nothing.
brain, smooth, not a
It's
wrinkle in
true.
sight.
Not a wrinkle in sight for you to re-wrinkle when you want. And then I've also been working on a game behind the scenes that I haven't been like super public about. I've been talking about in the server, but like not like really ripping into it. I might do some devlogs for it soon on the podcast. It's called Umbral Dive, which is like a Final Fantasy 14 heartbreaker. If you're not familiar, Final Fantasy 14 is an MMORPG. So I'm trying to take raid mechanics and RPG, like MMORPG concepts like tank support and DPS and things like that, and turn it into a feasible tabletop space. I've got some tech. I got Vertices tech. I don't think anyone's using Vertices tech, Adam.
People are using
Not
grids all day, every
people
day,
and
but not.
ignoring the vertices.
There's so many little lines all over that grid, and all we care about is the blank space where you could slot a mini in. That's, you know.
Look out for the box set. You know what I'm saying? Uh, Enough about me. How about you, Adam? What's going on? What have you been up to?
Well, I quit my job since the last
Mhm.
time that we talked. That's cool. I quit my job so I could try to see, what can I do with this game stuff? Is it possible for me before I exhaust my savings, and have to go get probably the same job back? Let's be honest. Um, is it possible for me to just make cool games and then people like them and give me money for them, and then I could pay my rent with that money and also for food with that money, and don't have to go do computer job, make brain sad.
Brain sad computer job.
Yeah, don't have to go work for a big corporation. Just doing whatever I even did. I'm starting to forget what a day to day life was like there. Um, so yeah, I've been working on a lot of things. I've been working on trying to plan a publishing year of our Lord 2022. What I could put out there, you know, what I need to do to make things work, because like the obvious answer is I need to have one big breakaway Kickstarter that kind of funds me forever. But you can't plan to have that. You just have to plan to make the best thing you can, and if it blows up, it blows up. But you probably want some contingencies. So I've got a few game designs in the fire, and we'll see what comes from them. I guess the important
Yeah,
thing is I'm working on. Oh, God.
no, you go ahead.
I was just gonna say I'm nearing the completion of the Kickstarter that I ran in February for Grasping Nettles. I'm hoping that that's coming out this month. I owe those super backers an update. But I have a bunch of spreads that are nearly finished. I think we're two spreads and a cover away from being done, getting it out there. I'm gonna do a launch event. I don't know, Jeremy, if you remember way back when we did this show. Raf D'Amico was on here talking about a launch event for the Zone and how
Mm-hmm.
that was fun. I'm gonna do one. I think I'm gonna do one of those for Grasping Needles. See if I can get a bunch of people playing,
Grasping fest.
excited. Yeah, Grasping Festals. That's bad.
Yeah, yeah. Don't do that. Grasping festals,
Yeah,
baby.
come on down. So yeah,
Come
I'm
on
gonna get
down.
like a Discord set up. I'm gonna get people playing it. Get people in there. Maybe do like a stream of playing it to kick it off so everybody can
A
learn.
couple streams.
Who could say? I don't know.
Who could say? We
Let's go
could
wild.
say.
If you're out there and you want to play Grasping Needles on your stream, let me know. That would rule. It's good. You'll have a good time.
All right. Well, that's the show.
That's it. We did it. We've talked.
Good job, everyone. Thanks for coming around. We appreciate it. Uh, you're working on another game, right? You're working on a. I mean, I don't know if this is something to be talked about.
And
The
bring it
Diamond
on.
Ring.
Yeah. Yeah. I'm working on a game called Burnt Champagne. which I believe will be my first game to come out next year that I'm going to push for. Um, Burn Champagne is going to be a kind of GM-less, troop-based role-playing game where you tell stories that are like many of the TV shows that are about just really shitty rich families and how miserable they are to each other. Um,
So
so it'll be
love
a
each
game.
other at the end of the day. The moral lessons.
Yeah, but that's fake love. These rich people, they don't love anything except for exploiting the working class people of the world. So it's gonna be a game where you create a family. You create a bunch of like the main characters. You've got like the magnate, the person that started this big company, and then all of the magnate's children, who, much like many children of rich people, aren't. They're just a little different than maybe you or me. And they're always going to be scheming and making a big mess out of their lives and trying to maybe secure their position on top of the on top of the throne. It's based on shows like Succession, as a modern example, Dynasty from the '80s, even Arrested Development, and Empire. If you like any of those, if you like the dynamics, I think you'll like it. I did a playtest not too long ago, and I was thinking I was gonna have to scrap a lot of it, but then everybody was like, "No, we liked all these pieces that you haven't brought up that you're gonna scrap, but you were thinking it." So it might be a little confidence thing.
Oh God, do I feel that? Do I feel
Yeah,
that in the worst way?
yeah. If you're ever playtesting with somebody, tell them the things you liked. I'm learning that more and more. I mean, it seems obvious, but like they might be in their head like, "This all didn't work. I'm scrapping it. It's too clunky."
So many moving parts in Umbral Dive.
Yeah.
So, so many. God, if I could just, it's interesting. I actually talked earlier with Grace about it, and I think that at least in my exposure to the indie scene, I think the indie scene is very focused on like uh crunchy narrative games in terms of like game design. At least all the games that I've been exposed to have been very like narrative focused.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that there's sort of like a small vacuum hole for like the tactical indie war game. And so that's why I'm really excited to like bring Umbral Dive to the space. But with the same thing, but to bring the reason I'm bringing this up is because the playtest stuff is like I'm constantly like, ugh, none of these mechanisms make any fucking sense. And then like someone like you plays like, yeah, there's good juice here, and I'm like, oh, thank God. I still don't see how it makes sense, but
Right.
someone got it, and that can feel really good. So just double down on hey, tell people you like something. Rose and thorns, definitely got to utilize the rose and thorns. I do it every time.
I definitely don't do that every time, but I know that that's a problem because I
Yeah.
should. Although it does depend. Like there's some like that playtest I ran of Burn Champagne. I kind of just wanted to see how everything worked. It was definitely helpful to
Hmm.
hear like, no, that was good on some of the pieces. But like halfway
Hmm.
through, I was like, okay, there were some of these bits. I had like this whole episode structure planned, and it just kind of got in the way.
Hmm.
And so it was like, yeah, I can. I'm learning a lot about the way I'm structuring this game, and what
Hmm.
I'm gonna do now. I'm still keeping an episode structure. Jeremy, tell me
Hmm.
if this sounds like a good idea. You're gonna have
You know, I love
episodes.
narrative structure.
You're just gonna set a 30-minute timer, and you're gonna play for
Hmm.
30 minutes. And once that timer
Hmm.
goes off, you hit a cliffhanger in whatever scene you're in, and then you start the next episode in some way. So like you're breaking it up instead of it being like, oh, 8 scenes is an episode. It's no literally 30 minutes at your table. Is that
I
okay?
think that I know. So there's a couple reasons why we're experiencing genius right now, everyone who's here watching. In that I love the thought of like timed mechanical things like timed sessions if that can like be facilitated in a game.
Mm,
Um and the reason is because we're all busy working adults that do things and like we have to plan around, D&D can take anywhere from an hour to 4 hours. You never
Right.
know. And I'm a person of structure. I'm a person of culture, I guess one would
Absolutely.
say. Absolutely. Uh, but no, I think real-time mechanics are ripping sick. Another like Arc Doom by Momedos does some real-time
Hmm.
mechanics, which is really fascinating. They she creates a whenever you rest as your sort of like trad adventure or OSR style character, um, whenever you take a resting game, you as the player have to step away for a period of time, depending on how long you're resting, because you have to get up, you have to go get snacks, take a bathroom break, whatever have you. But I love that that's like melded into the game. And like if you have role playing scenes that happen while the person is resting, it's like less likely that that person is going to like I always think about the I see this meme of like these two birds. But anyways, this thing of like me as the warlock. When everyone goes to sleep, I want to wake up and go talk to my patron. And then you got that one shitty player at the table is like, no, I was awake the whole time. The second the warlock steps away, I pull them back to the campsite. Just get out of here, dude. So that's like less likely to happen. I don't know, real time mechanics that are outside the bounds of like your traditional board game style
Hmm.
stuff. Like you have till the sand timer runs out to make up a charade prompt or figure out something like that. And
Right.
it's like a little bit more like session structured, I think is really fascinating.
Cool. Yeah, I had
Yeah.
already had it was like based on the first rule I had, which was decide ahead of time how long you're going to play, and then 2/3 of the time through decide if you're going to cancel or renew the show. So
Hmm.
if you're going to cancel the show, like drive every plot line into the ground, finish it. If you're going to renew the show, drive like the plot lines that make sense to finish done, and then you'll have another session of play that'll be like
Hmm.
season 2, season 3. And so if we're already setting timers, why not do episodes? And then it could be like, yeah,
Hmm.
after however many episodes you're all available to play, like have one final episode um, where you either cancel or renew, set everything up for a big explosion at the end.
There has to be an optional rule for like a reunion episode. There has to be.
that's that's pretty good. Yeah, even if you cancel it, like come back way
Yeah,
later.
yeah. 10 years later, that'd be crazy. It only unlocks if you cancel a show.
Uh huh. I'm
I
just
think
writing it
about
down.
unlockable sessions all the time.
It's
There's
written.
actually I was talking with
It's on the wall.
uh Kevin Wynn about sort of a game that he's working on where you are on it's modeled after sort of like Gundam, but taking the concept of like on the ground troops rather than like being in the mech.
Mm,
And you play the game as like these foot soldiers with guerrilla tactics stuff, and like running into a mech is a big deal. Like fighting a mech is a problem. But if you can figure out how to overcome the mech with your abilities and then like not damage the mech beyond inoperableness, then you unlock a secondary set of game mechanics that allow you to operate the mech. Like if you can never take over a mech, you'll never unlock those mechanics. And I think that's like the conceit of the game. But like part of the reward in like figuring out how to take on and get a mech because you can't like repair one.
mm,
Uh, like I think that's an interesting concept of like you can only get to the second part of the second set of mechanics, which doesn't like ruin the game. Like you still have a playable game just on the foot soldier basis, but to throw in the mech piece and get secondary game mechanics out of something, I think is a fascinating experimentation as well.
yeah, I like that. Yeah.
So doing like a reunion episode, like you can only get it if you cancel a show,
Mm,
I think is fascinating because then it gives you a goal to work towards as well.
right. Yeah, it gives you something like gives players like just putting that in the game. Like obviously they could just do that on their own,
Yeah.
but like putting that in the text of the game will get people like 2 months after they finish their one shot of burnt champagne to be like, it would be kind of fun to dip back into those characters. And
Shitty,
there were
shitty characters.
it did say that there was, reunion rules. Why not do, as Seferman says in the chat, why not do the HBO special?
Mm-hmm.
Like
Mm-hmm.
6 seasons in a movie. Wasn't that, what show was that?
Oh fuck if I don't know
That's
dick about
it's just a
rich family
no. I
dramas.
don't think it's a rich family drama. There's just there's a phrase 6 seasons in a movie that was for some show. I don't whatever. Not important. Oh,
Many animes work like that.
people in the chat are saying Community. I guess that is what that is
That's
from.
two for Community.
Two for Community. That must be it. We've got it, folks. We've got a brilliant chat. But yeah, I think there's a lot. I think there's a lot there. I think that kind of juice, the unlockable episodes, because it could be kind of like, in Firebrand's games, it's just a series of mini
Mm-hmm.
games, like
Mm-hmm.
just unlockable content in the back that like open a new mini game, so to speak, even in a trad game. Like
Mm-hmm. Well,
that's
what are levels if not unlockable games?
that's. Hey, you ever
Go
think about that?
going deep here. It don't a lot of people like consider fourth tier D&D play to be like a totally different experience because of all the abilities up there and all the weird capstone shit, right? So like
Capstone shit.
isn't that sort of the same thing?
Yeah, I guess it is.
You unlock
But I'm
certain
thinking,
spells at certain levels.
but instead of like that feels like micro level stuff. But it could be like, oh, if in your D&D campaign you take over a town, like now you've got town running rules. Like you have to have
Hmm.
like episodes that you run this town. Otherwise, somebody's going to take it over. And if you don't do
I'm
all the
I'm
maintenance
just
rules.
saying that I was just saying that there are uh there are examples of like unlocked games, even if they may not be considered that
Right. Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
in games that already exist, which I think is fascinating. Tiny envelope legacy board games from
You always got to
C.
check.
Framet.
You always got to check under the insert. There's more.
Mm-hmm.
There's more
Mm-hmm.
content. How can we put in our RPG books more content under the insert? That's the question for everybody.
Morning Rue.
What else did I?
Uh so other things we've talked about in private, besides how much we love each other, is box sets. Umbral
Uh,
Dive might be a box set game, as you keep yelling at me to do box set
I mean,
every day.
I just want more boxes. Yeah,
Box set RPGs like I have motherfucking uh Mouse Guard, right? Mouse Guard box set.
yeah. So are we talking games that don't need a box set that have one, or are we talking boxed games? Like, are we drawing a line between these?
I don't know if I was trying to draw a line. I think
I'm just curious.
why can't more RPGs have bits and bobs? Like why can't your like Sleepaway come with unique tokens to uh the what you call them playbooks? You know, your rope tender who has unique tokens, and like when you share tokens, you'd be like, oh, I got this token from the rope tender. Like
Mm,
just cool little bits and bobs. I don't know. I'm thinking a lot lately about cool bits and bobs
yeah,
in your RPG game.
I just because if we're not drawing a line, I did just play Adam Vest and Will Yopes A Guide to Casting Phantoms in the Revolution on Friday,
Mm-hmm.
and that
Mm-hmm.
comes in a nice little box with
Ooh.
cards that facilitate the game nicely. Very nice art. Like
Mm-hmm.
both characters. So there are character prompts, and it's just like, look at this funny dude. How's this
Look at
funny
this
dude fit into
tiny
your
little
game?
man.
Uh, and then also just scene prompts, which were just icons. And depending on certain
Mm-hmm.
things, like you're encouraged to use more and more of these. So like there are some scenes where it's like, yeah, you should use all 6 of the icons here that are next to it, and you get a little bonus at the end if you do. Um,
Ooh.
and those are the kind of game mechanics that are tough to do without a box set. So I think there are, um, Like there are games like Mouse Guard. I don't think you need the box set to play. You could just grab the book,
No.
grab your, your D&D minis, your Warhammer minis, make it happen. A bag. I don't know
Yeah.
how Mouse Guard is played. um, and then there are games that like you pretty much need that box, or you need to assemble a facsimile of that box in order to play it. And I think there's interesting design concerns for both.
Mm.
Just like designing a game that doesn't need the box, it's like you're selling an upgrade pack essentially.
Yeah.
Like this is the best way to play versus like
This
this
is
is
the
the
luxurious
only.
way.
Yeah.
Yeah. Uh, yeah, for lots of the classes in Umbral Dive, they'll have like little tokens that you have to keep track of. Like the reason why I'm even talking about this again is because I looked up like for I can't remember what they're called. I can't remember who sells them. I think it might be the people who do like the spell cards. Whiz Kids, is that who that is? I
That's a
don't remember.
company.
For D&D 5e, they do like the spell cards for the classes and shit like that. But they also do um like token play mats. So like if you buy the barbarian one, they give you like rage tokens and like a reckless token and different things like keep track of your abilities for
Yeah.
your class. And like that's the thing I want to replicate. Actually, there's a more specific game called um Dice Throne that does like a class that has a bunch of like bits and bob buff and debuff tokens on them. And I don't know. I think tokens are useful for keeping track of stuff. How many spell slots do I have left? I don't know. I know there's a character sheet. I just like the
It
like.
it feels like that would make D&D 5e more palatable to me if it was more upfront about the fact that it's kind of a shitty board game that you're playing. Like give me the shitty board game and maybe I'll have fun with it. But like
Yeah.
making me keep the shitty board game like in my mind and then also in the like, oh, what's the spell
Mm.
do? Sure, I could leaf through this big book, but I'll just Google it. I'll Google Phantom Hand 5e. Is that a spell? Phantom Hand? That feels like one.
Phantom Hand 5. It is now. Get Adam Bell's D&D 5e supplement spell book. You get 50 new spells,
uh,
10 new monsters, and four
yep.
new subclasses for your favorite classes.
Mm-hmm. Phantom Hand. You've got Gygaxian
No.
shit for
You took it too
brains.
far.
Make
Also,
target
like the
NPC of your
term,
choice and big dickhead.
can we talk about like the term Gygaxian exists?
I don't
Like
want to.
how fucking insane that we had to come up with a term for that, or that a term like came into that.
Mm-hmm. Boy, yeah, he started the whole thing by himself, no doubt.
I Yeah, no doubt by himself.
Uh huh. It all comes from one man, as do anything in the world, and it's all one man.
As do
As
anything.
do it all.
One man, never anything else.
I've also been thinking about tokens in games because another
Yeah,
project that I'm working on, um, which is its own project, but also the latest version of what I'm working on, is putting in this abstract tactical grid system that I have, just slotting
that I
it
stole from
directly
you.
into. Yeah, you're taking 5x5 grids right out from under me. And adding vertices. So who's going to care about my shit if I'm not even touching those vertices? um, no, so I'm thinking about for Zine Quest looking forward. I was listening to the Brain Trust podcast. Again, Adam Vast,
Great
Will Yobst.
podcast.
Check it out. And they were talking about Will in particular was saying that like they don't want to do a game on Zine Quest. They want to do Zine
Whoa.
Quest, but not a whole game system because that's like not what people show up to Zine Quest looking for.
Hmm.
Like you can, there are a few breakaway hits, and like you could do okay on a Zine Quest game, but like for example, Grasping Nettles, I did as well as I wanted to do for that.
Hmm.
Like I hit the level that I was hoping for, but like it's not going to be paying my bills from that
Hmm.
Kickstarter. but it is good to get like people's eyes on your shit. And so they were talking about doing like just supplemental material. Uh, and that got me thinking, like, maybe I shouldn't
Mhm.
do a game for Zine Quest, but I still want to do it. And I'm leaning towards taking the rules of the game that I'm making, which have this like abstract tactical um, resolution system, and just slamming it into Blades in the Dark, because I think the more I think about it, the more it would just work. So instead of rolling a dice
Ooh.
pool, you're adding tokens to this board in the way that I'm going to do it in my other game. And so then I get to thinking like, oh, if I'm running a Kickstarter, I should get like sick tokens that I could sell to people. I like little cardboard
Yeah.
punch boards.
Yeah.
I don't know
Punch
how
boards. Punch boards.
I don't know how to dress up a 5x5 grid, but somehow sound like a nice bespoke
It's gotta
five
be
by five
wood.
grid. Is that it?
Yeah, it's gotta be like
That's
a rich bamboo.
that's the answer I feared.
Well, for the vertice tech, gotta use wood so we get those little line slots in there.
Mm-hmm.
Little
I'm looking for
pegs. We talked
right
about pegs because the game only uses paper minis.
upgraded to cardboard, of course.
Of course.
Whenever you buy the $300 box set from Jared.
Yeah, the deluxe luxury premium, the classic DLP version of the game. Please, someone call your game the deluxe luxury premium. I
Yeah,
want to see DLPs across Zine Quest, dude.
every campaign should have a DLP tier, and we know what that means. We all know.
Oh shit.
Just log into the
It was
comments. Hi, I backed at the $1 level just to let you know that you don't have a DLP. What's up with that? Oh shit.
Oh shit. That's good. Every game should have a DLP. There's no reason not to upsell. You know what I'm saying? You gotta get the
Mm-hmm.
holographic cover. You gotta get the foil inside art illustration. You gotta
Uh-huh.
get the center fold that extends. Is everyone writing this down? We have 12 viewers. There should be 12 people writing down what I'm saying right now. I'm giving you free marketing,
Uh-huh.
everybody. Who doesn't want a DLP in this game?
I am working on screen printing Grasping Nettles wheels, which is
Yeah,
something that
yeah.
I wanted to be working on for the campaign, but I didn't want to like sell something to people and then be forced to do
Mm,
it. Like,
yeah.
hey, look, spam in the chat. Get rid of
Yay,
this.
we did it.
Get out of
Doom wants to
here.
become famous by followers and viewers on bigfollows.com.
Banned. Um,
Body pillow tier is very good. Where's the
oh.
grasping Netto's body pillow? Like, we, hold on. I'm looking up right now. Can I make a body pillow of Adam Bell?
Come on.
Create a body pillow. This is gonna be the most cursed thing I ever look up in my life.
Yeah,
These are bad pictures.
I'm just gonna let you run with this. Like when I'm not
Yeah.
saving you, I'm not bailing you out here.
Bagsoflove.com. Boom. This is it. Send me a headshot, my dude.
Just, just like you just put a head onto like the standard body.
Yeah.
It's just bolted on. That's a fucking curse.
Oh, you're right. I am gonna get fucking body pillow ads for the rest of my life. Gotta clear my Google algorithm today.
Yesterday, just to find cursed things, I googled gamer wedding toppers. Uh, so I'm gonna be with you having cursed ads. I think for a little while. I'm not getting married, but a friend was telling me about a bad wedding topper, and I wanted to see if there were gamer ones. I found a bunch of Funko Pop ones. If you want a little Funko Pop wedding
Mm,
topper, perfect on the cake,
classic.
like cake, the cake topper.
Yes, yes, I'm tracking. Well, for the
A
viewers at home.
lot of bad jokes about marriage there. dragging me away from my games.
Mhm.
You gotta have it.
Critical Role wedding cake. It's gonna exist. We're gonna see a jester in a Ford on top of some fucking
Yeah.
goddamn cakes here in the near future, I swear. I'm gonna throw up.
Running with
Content
us said
warning for
that's just minis, right? And I tried to find like Warhammer. I was expecting to see some good like people with cakes that have just fucking Warhammer minis on top. None.
mm,
I couldn't find any. It was a. It seemed like a problem. I want to see some like fully painted, garbed out 40K minis just on top of somebody's cake if I go to a wedding.
honestly, I think a lot about 3D printing.
Yeah.
I don't know if I want to do it. I think a lot about it. I think about like a machine just right here on the desk, just printing some minis away. People's games that don't need minis,
Mm-hmm.
like Spencer Campbell's Slayers. What if, or Nova
What if each of those sparks had a little STL file that you
had a
can
little.
download from thingiverse.com and print it out right there? I also think about this a lot because I did some 3D printing like in college. That was
Mm,
I took a class on it, which was weird.
lucky.
It was just run by some grad student. He just liked 3D printers and somehow got the school to let him just do a class on it. Um, Point
It's
is,
the new, it's the now.
it's kind of fun, but and they're cheap now. Like I was prohibited
Mm-hmm.
then because I was like, I don't feel like the options 8 years ago or whenever the hell I was in college were either buy an expensive one or like spend a ton of time with somebody that knows that has one, and then you print out most of the parts and assemble it yourself. Like the 3D printer can
Mm-hmm.
print a printer essentially,
Yeah, I love it. I think it's amazing.
but it takes so long. I didn't want to. I didn't want to do it, and so now I still don't have one.
Also, something something AI world domination, something something gray blob theory, something something.
Excuse me.
You don't know about the blob theory for like nano machines?
No,
So,
no,
okay,
I don't.
here we go.
We're heading in. We're
We're
turning
heading
into a
in.
game at the end to bring it
So
back to
there
topic.
is a theory that if we build like self-replicating nanobots, um, if any single one of those nanobots as they produce themselves finds an error in its code and doesn't have like a kill off point for like stop making nanobots when you're at like 100,000 or something like that, then the nanobots will continue to produce at such a quick rate that we will not be able to stop them, and the earth will just flood with nanobots over time because
Sweet.
it'll continue to reproduce uh nanobots with the same error in their coding.
What are they made out of?
It doesn't matter.
Well, I'm saying, don't they run out of material before the Earth gets covered in nanobots?
No, it's that they would keep like eating like
Oh, they
use
eat.
natural resources or something like
Okay,
that. Yeah.
like the futuristic locust descending on the countryside and
Yes.
just
Yeah.
devouring it. That's fun. I think we should push
Yeah.
towards that technology.
More nano.
Yeah, it's necessary. Oh God, how's that a game?
There's
Let's see.
so much chat happening.
I know I can't keep up.
Will, I'm sorry. Listen, I don't believe in Mondays. I worked in the restaurant industry for a long time, so a lot of people are like, "Oh, my weekends are Saturday or Sunday." Like my weekends were Tuesday and Thursday. Like I don't believe in the time structure of days, so I'm not affected by the case of the Sundays. So welcome everyone to my Monday, where I think real hard about stuff. I watched when I woke up this morning, I watched a video on economics.
A good video or like
Yeah, I was just talking about like how like the real damaging effects of unemployment rate slash inflation and how those two things sort of work together on in like a cause and effect structure.
Mm-hmm.
Learned about friction unemployment, structured unemployment, and cyclical unemployment. Cyclical is the bad one that people are always scared of.
Mm-hmm.
Should I get into that?
It's up to you.
This is a game design channel.
I It's not that I'm not interested, but I'm always wary about any economist.
Sure,
Full
sure, I get
stop.
it. Uh, games, Adam. Let's just shift hard gears back into games.
Sure.
Uh,
I mean, I'm
so,
good.
uh,
I like
so,
games.
uh, yeah, games.
Yep.
I just saw the announcement for Tech Jam 3 when I was posting out uh the Twitch today for everyone. So excited for Tech Jam 3. And I think I have some like really cool tech from Umbral Dive in like terms of character progression stuff. I uh and I might be doing some submissions for Tech Jam, so that'll be cool. But one is looking at how characters do progression in games, and I created this may not be new, someone else might be doing this, but I created temporary dynamic leveling. And I call it this because I'm ripping from games like MOBAs mostly, like League of Legends or Paladins or something like that, where you level up from one to whatever during a match. And then like when you play your next match, you start the process all over again. Like that's part of the cycle of the game.
Mm.
So in Umbral Dive, when you get into encounters, I think right now it's the flow slash escalation system. And basically, as you're getting into combat, the way I imagine it narratively is that like you're warming up or you're learning about your opponent. So, for example, there's a class called the Void Weaver who has like a fire attack. And the fire attack starts at like 2d4 damage. And then when you deal a death blow to an enemy, you have an option to upgrade any of your actions. So you can like increase the speed at which you're doing something and or increase the efficiency of an action. So when you upgrade that 2d4 damage, it might become like a 2d8 damage or whatever the scaling of it is. And it might also be like a lower cast time. You might have like a bigger cooldown that takes like 3 rounds to cool down, but you can upgrade it to cool down in 2 rounds. And so the idea is that like you're doing dynamic builds in the middle of different combats. So you might be like, oh, this is a boss fight. I don't need a ton of my AoE abilities. So I don't want to put any upgrades because you get a limited number of upgrades.
Right.
But I don't want to put any of my upgrades into AoE abilities. I want to focus on single target damage, or we're in a fight with a ton of mobs and a boss. So I do want some mix of like AoE and some utility stuff. So just this idea of like changing the concepts of like what leveling up is. A lot of this derives from Spencer Campbell's Lumen game structure and how you have like a powerful character with actions, and then you sort of like do small modifications to it. But I was thinking more of like a allows you to like build per encounter, which is a little
Mm.
bit faster, a little bit more interest, or I think is a little bit more interesting. So that's like uh, one piece of tech that I'd love to propose to the larger community.
Yeah. The quick leveling's always cool, and I think doing it as a per encounter thing kind of cracks open the issue that I've always had. Like, because I've thought about games that like, what if you just got sweet new abilities every fucking 2 seconds? But like
Yeah.
by the end of a session, then what? Then you're just huge and powerful, and next session you may as well not have it. But making it a per encounter where you like reset back to baseline every time and can try a different path, that's the juice.
Hashtag Juice Nation. It's back. Hashtag Juice Nation
It's
is
here.
back.
It was always here. We've been juicing
It's
ever
never gone.
since.
Rewatch for previous juice. It never molds.
I don't know about all
What
that.
about you? What kind of, do you have any tech you're excited about? Ignore the mold part.
um, so I mean, there is the grid system that I'm talking about, but
Hmm.
I don't know if I'll have time to like get that into a standalone thing. If I'm also going to try to plan, um, if I'm going to plan to like turn that into a zine specifically for Forge in the Dark systems, then I feel like I
Hmm.
got to work on that because I want
I
to.
think the pipped movement is super cool.
Yeah, that is true. That so I guess there are little bits of it. Because what it is basically it's a 5x5 grid, and when you go to do an action, so like when in a normal game you would roll dice. Um, you as the players, any players that are involved in the action, whether it's just one person or like helping is just built in because anybody can climb in. You add tokens to the grid based on like your stats, based on like so if we're talking the Blades in the Dark system, like how many dice you would normally get, that's how many tokens you're going to add to the grid. Then the GM will add dice to the grid based on the situation. Like so, after hearing what you're doing and how people are helping, like adding tokens to this grid, this 5x5 grid, one for each thing that is going to get in their way. So, classic example: you're trying to get into a room with a locked door. The the door, I mean, the door's fucking locked. That's a token because you got to get over that. Maybe you throw in one because you're good at you get two things for Tinker. Is that's the Blades version of it, right? Tinker,
Yeah.
Tinker
Hmm.
Tailor, Soldier Spy. Um, yeah, and then you roll dice, and then starting with all of the sixes, you use the face of the die like it's a 3x3 grid, and you can move any one of your tokens from one pip to another, with the goal of if you're a player, you want to take the GM's tokens, and then if you're the GM, you want to take the player's tokens. And if after settling all of the dice, because you roll one die for each token on the grid, and so then you'll be moving them for a little while. If after all of that the players take more tokens than the GM, then it's going to be a success of some margin. If the GM takes more, it's going to be a problem for those players. um, and the cool thing, the thing I really like about this is that it like remembers. So if you set yourself up for a huge success and didn't get it this turn, you're going to end up with like 4 extra tokens on the grid that will stay there. And then next time you do an action, you've got like you've kind of got momentum towards like you set yourself up for this even if it went poorly at first. Like it remembers that you put in that effort and will go ahead and maybe crush it this time. I don't know. I think
Hmm.
it's fun. I've done micro tests. I think I might be playing a full session of Blades in the Dark with this today. I kind of
Whoa.
forgot that I maybe double booked myself on sitting at this computer, but I'm excited to see if it works with Blades as well as I think it will. And then also if anybody fucking wants that. Because it's a little, I don't know. I'm usually more of a like make a new thing designer. And I like when people make things for games I like, but I never think to do it. So I'm excited to follow that impulse.
Mm. You're kind of like you like the supplement like growth, like seeing the twists on things that have already been
Mm.
done sort of person. Is that what you're saying?
I'm saying I like seeing it. Like I would never do what I do to
Mm.
myself and be like, I don't need that. Nobody needs that. If somebody's like, here's some cool new rules for this game you like. But like for me, when I sit down and think of that, I'm like, nobody wants this from me. People want a new
Oh
game
my
from
God.
me. And that's not true. And so
Mm-mm.
I'm trying to follow that impulse and see where it leads me.
Yeah.
It's
Gotta
just like
create that
my
supplemental material.
yeah. Because whenever this game the game that is actually going to have this token system comes out, like my plan is to do a few supplements for it that add not quite bringing it all the way back to unlockable content like we were talking earlier, but like
Mm.
that add entirely new like campaign settings essentially in the same game world, but like
Mm.
this is buy this supplement, like back my new supplement for this game if you want this to be like a monster hunting game because this is where all the
Yeah,
monster
yeah.
hunting rules live. By I'm coming out with the next one in 4 months, and it's gonna be like political intrigue. So if you want like guidelines and then also a starting like scenario situation for intrigue to see how this game works with that, hey, have I got the zine for you?
And you're only proving its versatility, right?
Right. And expanding on it,
Business.
like adding new rules and stuff slowly instead of trying to do it all at once. Like, here's my big 400-page book that might not be as good as it would be if I do it slowly.
Modular design.
Modular design. What else?
Modular design.
Was modals? Modals is the word you were using earlier?
Modal games.
Modal
I think that's a
games?
little bit different. Yeah,
Yes.
modal games. Modular design. I will sing any comment that has multiple letters in it.
That's what it takes to get
That's what it
your
takes.
pipes. It's
It's
just a
Dan
few.
Phipps opened the achievement and unlocked the secondary game of the talk show. Design.
Well, Jeremy, you got anything else to talk about? We are coming up on an hour, which is unofficially how long this is. I don't think we talked about it, but I that's my assumption.
Yeah, I think that we're gonna have to adjust the graphic here so that we can do some like live game design for stuff
Uh,
as we talk about things. I think it'd
I
be interesting to like
I do have one set
physically
up
showcase.
that we can screen share. If you check that out, it's just a nightmare right now. I'm gonna take it back.
Oh God, I'm feeling the vibe.
But if instead of OBS it was whatever you wanted to talk about, yeah, definitely for future shows.
That was amazing. Did I just tap into the Matrix? Uh,
Oh shit. So yeah, look forward to that in the future, dear listener, viewer.
third Monday.
Um, right next week will be a second Monday, which means it is the call-in show, which might be what you're here for. Uh, so we will be taking calls. We'll be talking to whoever wants to talk to us, just like the old days, and that is going to be a blast.
So
Is there
start
any?
thinking your questions. Write them down today.
Write it
Save
down.
them for next week.
Consider it. Chew on it. Think
Chew
about it.
on it.
Hopefully
Revise
this
it.
hopefully this time slot works for people. It seems like people have showed up. It felt nice for Jeremy and I to do it on Monday morning, and so that's why we're here.
Hmm.
Because it, I can't think of a time in my life where like Monday around this time I've had like something to do.
Hmm.
So it doesn't feel like Sunday. It always felt like, oh man, I wanted to do this thing,
Yeah.
but
I got volleyball I
I
gotta
can't.
play.
Yeah, you got volleyball to play.
I got volleyball.
I'm sure I've got something to do. But Monday is a day where like I've noticed that when I try to sit down and design games, nothing happens. It's just sparks that come out of a wire that has shorted.
This is the juice starter, right? This is we meet every Monday morning
Mm-hmm.
to juice some fruit
To whir up
and then
our
taste the
brain
juice.
factories. Yeah,
Yeah.
exactly.
Wake up the brain factory.
Yeah, and then
Get unscrambled.
we'll meet next week, and we'll talk to the viewers. So until
Yeah.
then, I will continue to be Adam Bell. Find me on Twitter at Adam E. Bell. Get my games at adamebell.games. Yeah, that's me. Sign off, Jeremy.
And I've been Jeremy Gage. You can find me at
Sure.
Jeremy Gage 5 over on Twitter. Come talk to me about tactical game tech.
Yeah, do it. Great. um, I think that's it. I think we will be signing off once more. Okay, I gotta get us out of here if you're gonna.